Hey leaders, I hope you're having a great last week of 2016 and really taking some time to sort of reflect on this past year, your business growth. I'm loving hearing all of your biggest wins, your biggest challenges, and how you've overcome them. And I wanted to kind of share like a common theme of a huge business lesson, the biggest business lesson that you have been learning, and so have I. And that's all about perseverance, right? I think especially for people who are starting out in your business, or maybe you have like a new-ish like arm of your business and kind of in that startup phase, it definitely takes a lot of time and effort and energy for you to kind of be consistent in order to create momentum and actually see like the fruit of your hard labor. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today is a little bit more about perseverance, because I think especially in the online space, I think there's a lot of messages that go around saying like you can have a business and do it really quickly, or it could be really easy. And you know what? I think it just you can. You just have to persevere long enough to be able to stick with it and see some results and really achieve what you set out to do. So let's talk about perseverance for a second. I wanted to kind of harp on, I think, two things. First is the mentality of how to actually grow your perseverance. And then the second thing I'll share with you is kind of like a practical strategy for you to be able to, again, develop that. So, excuse me. So let's talk about like the mentality or the mindset for you to be able to really grow perseverance, or grit, as I like to call it. And that is like the difference between having like a growth mindset versus like a fixed mindset. And what I mean by that is, if you have a fixed mindset, that means that you really can't change anything. You kind of give in your life circumstances and you just kind of have to like ride it out. But having a growth mindset is something much more empowering and creative and resourceful, and really for you to be able to understand that you have the ability to change and you have the ability to grow. But the key distinction for a growth mindset is to be able to not only like understand your vision and your goals, but then also to reflect back and recognize your progress. And I think that's the biggest key here in terms of developing perseverance, is actually taking the time to acknowledge your progress, how far you've actually come. Because when you do that, when you just like look back on your journey, if it's just been a month, 3 months, a year ago, and just really notice how much you've grown, how much you've learned, how much you've honed different skills and done things that you didn't think was possible. Just that exercise of doing that is really going to help you to motivate you to be like, okay, I can go a little bit more. I can do a little bit more and go a little bit further. So I think Todd Herman calls this the wow brain versus the owl brain. Just really taking the time to reflect on your progress and see how far you've come, really celebrating that so that you can develop the motivation to kind of keep going. That's why in all my coaching sessions, we always start off with, hey, like, what has been your progress since the last time we've talked? What have you accomplished? What are some wins that you've had? What have you learned? We start there because that kind of, again, develops that growth mindset, and to kind of help you to see, hey, like, I've done a lot of stuff. I've accomplished a lot more than I thought I did. And really taking the time to acknowledge that too will kind of create sort of like a milestone in your journey of long entrepreneurial perseverance. So the mentality of doing that, it's pretty simple, it's easy, but then if you do it on a regular basis, like each week, every 2 weeks, every month, and again, like the end of the year annual review, that kind of reflection is going to do a lot of good. Alexa, stop. My alarm is going off. So the second thing I want to talk to you about is the practical way to develop perseverance too, and that is actually working in terms of short-term projects. I think a lot of times people get tripped up is understanding the difference between like vision, which I like to talk about a lot. Like your long-term vision is like the big picture, life legacy, who are you becoming kind of stuff. So that's really key to understanding like what's important to you and what you're working towards. But it's a little bit it's not as concrete as something like a goal or a project. And so we think long-term vision, that's like what your life is all about kind of thing. But then we can break it down into shorter goals, like a 30-day, like a 3-month, 90-day framework. And even break it down even further into maybe like a week-long, 2-week-long project. And so that's why I recommend when you're doing a project, really creating like shorter deadlines for it, so that again motivates you to take like shorter chunks of time for you to be able to I guess do more sprints rather than marathons. And so creating a project and creating that around maybe like a question that you may have, like how do I get my first client, or which social media platform should I really spend most time on, or I want to get visible through creating workshops. You know, some sort of question you may have, or something that you kind of want to test and tweak. Creating a short-term project like that, so that you're able to kind of do it without wasting a lot of time and resources, and then getting some really great feedback, so that can inform you to do your next project. So again, if you think of perseverance as like a long time, like just business marathon, these projects can be like your short-term sprints. And by doing that, you are developing those muscles to be able to do the work, but also take that time to reflect back to see what's working, what's not working, and how you can test and tweak things as you go. So I think that's it. That's all I really have for you today. I think I was going to give an example of a project. So for example, the way that I got my first client was I actually wasn't quite sure how I was going to get my first client, but I knew that I wanted to kind of position myself as an expert, as a coach, and I also wanted to have a sense of community, and I also wanted to pair coaching, which can be sometimes a little bit more like inner work. I wanted to pair that with something that was like practical and tangible. So I created a workshop where I partnered with a local artist, and I led people through like life coaching, life purpose exercises, and then she led them through the creating a vision board to be able to kind of visually see and create a piece of art for that too. So that was like an idea that I had. I had no idea if it was going to work or not. All I knew was I gave myself like a 1 month, like I'm just going to try this and see if it works. And then create that project for myself. And then, actually officially did the collaboration, launched it, created the materials, and then taught it. And then shortly after that, that's where my first client came from, was somebody who attended that workshop. And so that's what I mean by like a short-term project, is giving yourself like a deadline so that you work, very efficiently. But then at the end of that project, I was able to see, hey, I really loved collaboration. I really loved teaching, and I really loved having kind of like a group, and doing it in a group. And then I also learned some things I didn't want to do as well. So that was it. So that could inform my decision to kind of work on my next project. And so that's what years are all about, right? 2016, it's like project after project after project after project. And with each one, every time you finish one, that is going to help you develop that perseverance. So I hope this was helpful for you. And really, just I think the biggest takeaway I hope that you get is that just keep going. Just keep going, but really taking the time to see what's working, do more of that, and then understand what's not working, and then stop doing that. And yeah, and you'll be able to kind of continue to grow and to continue to really create success in your business. So next week is the first week of the year, so I want to let you know we're going to do like a vision into action all week long. I'll show you how to turn your vision into goals, into projects, into action steps, so that you can eliminate any sort of overwhelm that you may have and understand what to focus on, so that you could really just do what you set out to do. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in this video or tag me in the group. Hope you have a great day.